Hey guys, this is Phil Bay, and this is my reflection for the week. Um, First, start with my aha moments. I had three aha moments from the reading and from some of the research that I did this week. My first aha moment was the young age that some of the shootings happened. I'm used to hearing that, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they go in with guns to high schools and they open fire, but I know there was an 11-year-old in our text, and I believe two 13-year-olds. I know at least one 13-year-old. Um, but the 11 and 13-year-old, they pulled the fire alarm and they started sniping the students as they ran out of the building. And just the young age of those two really caught me by surprise. Being an elementary teacher, I never really think of it happening that young, but it just shows that it can happen, and we just have to be able to, just watch out for anything and be ready for anything. The second aha moment was the facts that were reported for Columbine. Um, a lot of them have proven to be incorrect. It's easy to say now, 15 years later, almost 15 years later, um, but it took up to 10 years for some of the facts to be reported correctly. Like, for instance, my paper was on them being outcast, but in fact, they weren't outcasts. They were part of clubs, they did theater, they were in some sports, they had tons of friends, they had, you know, they made good grades. Whereas it was reported that they were outcasts, nobody, they were bullied, they didn't have any friends, they were part of the trenchcoat mafia. And so it was just amazing to see how, or not amazing, surprising to see how incorrectly some of the facts were reported. Um, and one of my personal beliefs on that is that, it's a lot easier to imagine an outcast being someone that would, come and shoot up a school as opposed to somebody who made good grades, who had friends, who was part of clubs. Although there was, during my research, there was one paper, the Rocky Mountain News, which is no longer in Denver. They closed a couple years ago. That, they continued to report on the Columbine shootings, and 3 months after, they actually came out with a story that said, they weren't outcasts, that they were part of clubs, and they weren't bullies. That in fact they weren't bullied, but they were the bullies in some instances. Um, but it's easy to see how the local newspaper would stick with it a little longer because they're actually connected to the community much more than the national media is. Um, and then my third aha moment was how it happens in the smaller communities, because you think of New York City and Los Angeles and Philadelphia being dangerous cities, and I'm sure they are more dangerous than some of the smaller cities that the shootings take place in, but you never hear of shootings happening these in the larger cities. Um, so then one thing that I would like to continue to research would be why they think that it does happen in the smaller cities. Is it because, obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, I'm assuming in the larger cities there's gang violence, and, do they take out their violence and their anger that way on other gangs or other people? Or, is there something where there's not as much help in the smaller communities as far as, um, uh, therapy or anything like that to where they can do it. So I hope you liked it. And if you have any questions or any comments, just go ahead and leave a post. Thanks.